none of these things kind of made me feel like they were really significant in terms of like a leap of faith. And I think it's because when I look back on it, to me it was like all of these things were just little steps towards a bigger picture. And the bigger picture was to come here and kind of seek new opportunities and yeah, whether it was a business opportunity or moving into a different industry. And it wasn't scary because it wasn't really a case of is it going to work or having to have faith in it, because as far as I was concerned, like there wasn't another option. I was going to make it work. And so, you know, kind of looking back, well, last week I got in touch with Brian and Long, and then we ended up talking about Pecha Kucha. And I was interested in the event, and I wanted to speak, but at the time there were no spots available. And then Long happened to email me, and he was like, well, a spot's come up if you want to speak. And honestly, that email gave me more anxiety than like anything else I'd done in the past year and a half. So I was sitting there with this email and like having like a mini panic attack. And I remember something really important, and it was actually from that interview that I had for the Middle East, the one that I didn't get. And the interviewer had asked me, you know, the run-of-the-mill question, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I remember when I was answering him, it was one of those moments, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but you kind of like, happens to me a lot in interviews and other situations where you're kind of like zoned in, and you just kind of speaking, but the words coming out like aren't really connected to any thoughts, and you just like, it just comes out, and it's not to say that it's rubbish, like what you're saying. It's almost as though it felt to me like it was something that had been sitting in my subconscious, and I just hadn't really realized what it was. And what I said to him was, I don't know exactly what I'll be doing in 5 years, but I see myself speaking to people. And it was a telephone interview, so I couldn't see his reaction, but I imagine like he was like, didn't really understand what I meant. I didn't really understand what I meant, and I didn't get the job, so maybe that's why. But yeah, like as I got to know myself a bit better over the past year and a half, I've realized like that image, that's kind of how I saw it in my head at the time, like speaking to people kind of like this, but that's not what it is. I think it's more symbolic about, you know, my passion for ideas and kind of like delving into ideas and figuring things out, and like why we do the things that we do, and like hearing other people's stories and being inspired, and like all those sorts of things. And so I was sitting here with this email, like panicking, and then it hit me that, you know, this was kind of that moment, like all of these steps, like quitting the job, getting on an airplane for the first time, like all of these steps, I was finally face to face with the kind of opportunity that I'd been working towards, and that was really, really scary. And so it kind of made me think about the whole definition of a leap of faith, and like, you know, how it's defined, and also like, you know, when you Google it, you get these like really dramatic images, and like, I mean, all I had to do was just say yes, like I'll speak, but it was so hard for me to do it, and it kind of all came down to the fact that I had to take a leap of faith in myself and like my capabilities of being able to do it. And so yeah, like looking at, you know, some of the images that you see on the internet of like a leap of faith, and it's all really dramatic, and like, I know we're not supposed to take it so literally, and you don't, like, it's not, I mean, yeah, it's a nice picture, but like everyone's always like jumping, and like, I know a leap of faith, but it's just like a bit much, and I think people have this perception that it always has to be this like grand gesture, and like you make this bold move and like everything's going to change. And I agree that that is important, because I mean, obviously the things that I've done in the past year and a half, if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't be here now. But I think it's even more important that, you know, once you get to that point, all the sort of bold moves you might make, that once you come face to face with the opportunities or the things that you've been working towards, is to actually take a more important leap of faith and have faith in your capabilities and, you know, your ability to do the things that you've always kind of imagined. And yeah, because so with all of that said, I think having reflected and like all those things that I did, leaving, quitting the job, all of those things, although they might seem really bold and, you know, on the outside, I think for me, the biggest leap of faith has been this right now, and just like saying to myself, okay, cool, it doesn't really matter what happens, but just take that step and just give the talk, and, you know, have faith in yourself that you can engage with your ideas and engage with, you know, the opportunities that you've been wanting. So thank you guys for sharing that with me.